Hi, this is Dennis James. I'm your host tonight for the Dennis James Theater, brought to you by Northwest Schools, one of the most successful, one of the oldest, one of the largest training organizations in America today. And I'm going to talk specifically about training for a career in one of the fastest growing industries in America today, in fact, in the world, the hotel-motel management industry. Now, if you're 21 years of age or over, if you're married, if you're single, if you're divorced, if you're retired, no matter what walk of life you're in, if you're unhappy or want to make a change, then I hope you pay attention to what I say in the course of this movie tonight. As a matter of fact, I'd like you to call this number right now and get things started for yourself. See, when you call this number, you'll arrange for an interview, at which time you'll be presented with a brochure like this. You'll learn of the qualifications, all the facts about Northwest School, and how you can start to train for an exciting industry where there are 6,000, bear that in mind, 6,000 job opportunities open right now. And they tell me by 1975 that's going to double. So if you feel there's no place in this little old world for you, I'm telling you there is. And one phone call right now, of course our operators are waiting for your calls, one phone call will get you started on what could be the most exciting, the most lucrative career of your whole lifetime. Hotel-motel management needs trained, skilled personnel. They can't take people off of the streets. They need trained people. And that's why you check, find out about it, find out how you can be schooled at home. Home study, study at nighttime, weekends, and be ready for an industry that's really blooming. Okay? Now, we're going to watch a movie here tonight, and in the course of that movie, I'll come back with other ideas as to why you specifically should call this number. If you've already made up your mind that it's for you, then I suggest you call right now while the operators are waiting for you. All right, now let's watch the movie. This is Dennis James again. It's intermission time and a good chance for me to chat with you again. Now, when we came on tonight and introduced the movie, I told you, first of all, that if you were 21 years of age and over, single, married, divorced, no matter what walk of life, there was a chance for you to get into a fast-moving industry, hotel-motel management. You remember I said there were like 6,000 job opportunities right now, and that would double by 1975. And you know, when you're talking to nice folks like you, and you make a statement like that, you figure, well, why should they take your word for it? I don't want you to take my word for it, because I have something that I'll read to you. It's a quote from a man in authority that will substantiate what I've just said. Now, let me quote this to you. This is from Mr. Henry J. Bechtold. Now, he's financial editor of United Press International, and Mr. Bechtold writes this, and I am quoting, "Although high unemployment is one of the more serious problems our economy has to cope with, there is one industry in desperate need of new personnel." Which one, he says? "The fastest growing motel industry is sounding an urgent call for at least 90,000 new employees. This industry's projected construction of 200,000 new units this year will create at least 50,000 new motel job openings, which will occur through normal employee turnover." Now, there is a quote from a man who knows. So that's why I want you to call this number right now, will you? For Northwest Schools. And we'll set up an interview. Those interviews start tomorrow morning in this area. You call tonight, and your interview, you'll receive a brochure just like this. Tells you about the qualifications, gives you all the facts about Northwest Schools training, and it covers every aspect of the hotel-motel management industry. So if you start now, in just a short time, you could very easily be in a very exciting, a very lucrative field. How do you start now? By calling this number right now. The operators are there, okay? Now let's watch the movie again. Well, it's intermission time again. Now, if you've been watching our movie from the very beginning, I hope you're enjoying the picture. If you just got home and just turned on your set, this is Dennis James, and you're watching the Dennis James Theater, and I represent a fine training organization, one of the most successful, one of the largest in the country, Northwest Schools. And I've been talking specifically tonight about how you can get training in one of the fastest-growing industries in the world today, the hotel-motel management industry. And I went on to say that if you were 21 years or older, no matter what you did, whether you were single, married, divorced, retired, there was a place for you. Now, I want to speak specifically to the folks who are retired, because I have such sympathy with those folks. You know, if you're in a job at 40 years of age, that's fine. But if you lose a job after 40, There's almost no chance to get back into an industry. They close the door in your face, they turn their back on you, and they leave you out in the cold with no place to go. Well, if you've got a desperation situation at 40, what happens at 50? And what happens at 60? And what happens at 65? Are you through? Are you all washed up? Personally, I say absolutely not. If you call this number, you find out that there is an opportunity for you in the hotel, motel management industry. Now, you call right now. We have operators here right now ready to take your call. And then what happens? Our representatives are in this area right now, and the interviews start tomorrow. Yes, you will be interviewed. And at that time, you'll be given a brochure like this to give you all of the qualifications and all the facts about Northwest School's training. And it covers just about everything. 23 lessons on organization, the philosophy, front desk, behind the desk, keeping house, the food service, catering, bar, purchasing, sales. They go right from the floor to the roof in the hotel business. So you know that business from the bottom all the way up, making you qualified to be a manager or an associate manager or an assistant manager. So call the number right now, okay? Now watch the movie. You know, I've just been sitting here reflecting a little bit. This is Dennis James again. I've been talking to you tonight about Northwest Schools and their training for hotel, motel management. And I got to thinking that maybe the phrase hotel, motel management did not for you have a glamorous ring. And people like to be in a glamorous business. Well, I got news for you. It does have a glamorous ring. Now think about resort areas. Think about people thinking only of leisure time, 4-day weeks and so on. There are hotels and motels popping up in all those resort areas. How would you like to work, live, enjoy a resort area, and be paid to do that? Now, that's pretty glamorous living with the golf, with the swimming, with the tennis. You get paid for that kind of life. The rest of us have to go out and pay for it. Now, let me show you a couple who have graduated from Northwest Schools. They studied at home. They passed. They got their diploma. They got their job. Now, watch their glamorous life. Here they are. Man, that's the good life. Now, that's glamorous. How can you get into it? Find out. Call right now. The operators are waiting for your call. You can be interviewed starting tomorrow. All our representatives are in this area. Find out how you can be in a glamorous industry like the hotel, motel management industry. All you have to do is call, get the brochure, find out how you qualify, get all the facts, okay? Call now, though. All right, let's get back to the movie. Dennis James again. You know, I've been telling you, if you call this number, you'll have an interview set up, and one of our representatives, starting tomorrow morning, will interview people. Now, you might want to know what those interviews are all about. Well, I have a guest here in the studio tonight from the management staff of Northwest Schools, and I think if we ask him a couple of questions, almost as though you might be asking those questions, we can find out exactly what happens in one of those interviews. So say hello right now to Arnold Lippman, the management staff of Northwest Schools. Arnold, welcome.
Thank you, Dennis.
Now, when these people call this number and an interview is set up, what happens? What takes place at that interview?
Well, at the interview, we're trying to ascertain if these people really have the inclinations necessary to make good hotel, motel managers.
Now, what type do you look for specifically?
Well, what we're looking for specifically are people who enjoy dealing with other people, because really that's the heart of the thing. People who enjoy meeting new people, who get along well with other people. If they have that ability, chances are they're going to make very good managers.
So the qualification is 21 years of age and over. Now, I've been talking about married couples, and it seems to me this would be a natural, you know, two people running a hotel or motel. Do they fit into it pretty well?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, you'll find that many of the smaller motels are run by family groups, a husband and a wife, who share the responsibilities of managing the motel. It works out very, very well.
Now, one last point. I noticed that our school is approved for veterans under the GI Bill. I would imagine there, too, you've got a natural. Boys coming out of the service or men discharged from the service, and all of a sudden they find themselves not knowing what to do. I imagine they would be perfect, would they not?
It certainly is, because there's just as much of an opportunity for young men who will train now and have a lifetime career in motel, hotel management.
Just gave me another thought. They can train while they're in the service. If they're going to be discharged in a year or so, they'll come out and they'll be ready.
Yes, and they can even train while they keep their regular job. They can study at home at night and weekends. Does not interfere with their regular employment.
All right, now this is approved by GI Bill, as I said. Thank you, Arnold. Call this number right now, no matter what walk of life you're in, and meet somebody like Arnold Lippman. Okay? Okay. Well, That takes care of the Dennis James Theater for tonight, and I certainly hope that you enjoyed the movie. And I certainly hope that by this time you've already called the number to find out whether or not you qualify. An interview will be set up for you, remember. Our representatives are in this area right now and will be here possibly 3 weeks, interviewing people on a personal basis. At those interviews, remember, you'll receive this brochure with all the qualifications and all the facts, and it's a magazine-type brochure that covers every facet of Northwest schools. It covers testimonials from people who have already graduated from the school, how happy they are to be in their new environments, in their new jobs. Remember that I've been talking to people 21 years and over, not just men, but women too, not just men and women as a husband and wife combination. I've been talking to men specifically for a job for themselves and women specifically for a job for themselves, talking to people of the military, no matter what walk of life you're in. This is a perfect opportunity for you because remember what I've been saying all night and this morning. There are 6,000 job opportunities open right now looking for hotel motel managers. Get the training from Northwest schools. Study right at home under your own conditions, controlled conditions, in your spare time, at night, weekends. But by all means, make the call first. I repeat again, I said I hate the word. There is no obligation, and there is no obligation. Call up, have an interview set up, see if you qualify, get the facts, and then study for a great, great industry. Remember, you'll meet some awfully nice people. You'll find yourself maybe in a nice resort hotel somewhere, living, being paid to swim, to play golf, and have a general good time. So I hope the message has gotten across to you tonight. I'm going to check those phone calls, and maybe some hotel that I pop into a short time from now, you'll say to me, "Hey, Dennis, I heard you on television, and that's why I'm here today." So have a good night now. Make the call. Pleasant dreams. I'm even with the tell. I say if we've been in the palace under man the law, yeah, go. You're one knows those now get back here and you're very in the going on the second get the rest of back to those short release here or on but here I sent out to the night but I see Louis was in you're man the law. Your man saying you lost garbage December like we did say him you're on yes you know folks say the cat say you're better the back and she hasn't got in the beef but them are over than a mash but them the surf but them and the surf but them looks and these and the she hasn't got obsessed and she hasn't got y'all at the cap and the looks out on bucks there and the thought being talking about was the looks it's like you believe values did not you know it's a match as I said here on my self thing looking at on our for service and the long you know it's the people you know it's the back of her was the rest of them with the fellow with your fleas nail tea the honest to the way you not and I'm little not and now you know your first was that me yeah and the observe you go on what we face and on well there's gonna much go for fun yeah you know the fun is what sir the joke yeah stokes if you know so other shits the no you in the sort they're not host bring it up quiet so if the old mo in the sort the until even with us you know on shine in the surf gonna need you remember rock cat beer my head to the yeah you're sitting your sad for those no yeah don't me you're very skittish that's it in a moment when a shot it's skittish that's giving the hair takes off says one of my golf no for show with you there's the last skittish that's off but yeah how many skittish that's in a moss or in here you sort of boosting a fair about you know the babage double stores those yeah no but I'm a terrible but there I'm blowing you see those in the fred once again you're no or she ever say no we not keep space that so so on do it the near from the fish that if you're not nice going me here you look I've been caught my half a thing I've been caught in the baby of the shelf and she said out his up here it's me tonight he won't said the so but I've been caught in about and neck is me tonight to sing you know so I will think it go on the van. Yeah, good. That's a sweet in the car now. Oh, see there on the start to even in there. I'm down this lock road take this to their part by you. Yeah, so I don't say I'm there lock. I don't mind the looks self on top. Oh, and now we left the new bit. Now, but take set of those shirts of these several your arms here can get out to even there. Soon the shake you fall off, we stumble on out, boy. Who you're for us, you go even in. I'm there, man, the lock was. I can remember that will be for 90. I'll be naked on our beef meals now. He'll get her from this stiff number one. Here a swim. was man, but you bet I er volken en al enough to so dat they daar je tekmoot, ideal wie je hebt subsidie kost nou. Nou omzet ja, race aan ik gaan. Zo af daar snik maar sinds dit boel van nou lui. Why is going by like.
Okay, that's enough of that. So, I'm Skip Alzheimer of AV Geeks. I collect old 16mm films, mostly educational or sponsored films. But this was actually an odd acquisition, this last film. I bought on eBay some commercials for Northwest Technical Training Schools, which was mostly a correspondence school. And I liked what I saw, and then I reached out to the guy and said, hey, do you have any more of these? And he said, yes, I do. And he sent me a whole bunch of stuff, including the Dennis James Theater. Dennis James Theater was essentially a bunch of segues or interstitials in between that you would splice in between a film, and you would show like a late night movie, and it would be sponsored solely by Northwest Technical Training Schools. And so it was like Dennis James was bringing you his film, one of his favorite films. And I don't know if you noticed when you were listening, he never says what the film is, because the idea is that you just, whatever film they have. And it could have been something where the Northwest Technical Schools made a deal and they would license a film and then splice everything in and then, let it be sold or freely available to TV stations so they could show a late movie. But as you saw, I got all the little parts on a little reels, and so we spliced them all together and accidentally at the end spliced things upside down and backwards. They weren't correctly on the reel. So that's why it was playing upside down and backwards. So there you go. Thanks everybody for tuning in for lunch. I did an interview last night, which is available on the AV Geeks page if you look for it. And I talked about one of my Holy Grail films, because quite a few films I run across I'm actively looking for. And I actually showed the film, but I'd like to show it to you guys too. It is called Day Without Numbers. It features a scary puppet, so there's a trigger warning there for you, and a little boy who doesn't quite understand why we need numbers. And so let's watch that, and then I'll talk about why it's a Holy Grail for me. So here we go.
He kept looking out the window and thinking how much more fun it would be to be outside playing baseball or some other game. I heard him mumble to himself, I didn't have to do arithmetic. Well, I couldn't let him go on feeling that way, so I decided to teach him a different kind of lesson. Without a sound, I made myself appear on his desk. He certainly was surprised. He wanted to know who I was. I told him that my name was Johnny Numbers, and that I had magic powers. I could even make numbers disappear. Bob said that if he had that kind of magic, he'd do away with all numbers. I promised to do that for him. He wouldn't see any more numbers all that day. Without disturbing any of the others, we left the classroom. You never saw anyone as happy as Bob was when we got outside school. First, we just walked around a while. It was a wonderful day. Then, Bob saw some boys playing baseball in a field. He suggested that we watch them for a while. I thought that would be fun, too, so we stopped and watched the game. Suddenly, there was an argument about the score. The boys tried to settle it by looking at the scoreboard. That's when I made all the numbers disappear. And the boys couldn't settle their argument. In fact, they decided they couldn't finish the game because a baseball game without keeping score isn't much fun. And you can't keep score without numbers. Bob was disappointed, But I told him that I had to keep my promise of no numbers today. Bob suggested that we look in the window of his favorite store. It was always full of trains and other things he liked. Bob wondered if he had enough money saved to buy a train that was on sale. But I had to make the prices disappear before he could figure it out. Without numbers, of course, you can't show prices. Well, believe me, being without numbers wasn't exactly what Bob thought it would be. We talked about other things that we could do. Bob said that there were many things to play with in his house, so that's where we went. But let me tell you something. I don't think that Bob was having as much fun as he thought he would have. Because Bob kept most of his things in the basement, we went down there first. He suggested that I watch him while he planned a new track for his train. Well, the first thing he thought that he should do would be to find out how much new track he would need. He said he was going to measure to find out. I had to laugh when he said that. I knew that yardsticks needed numbers, and if he wasn't going to have any numbers that day, he couldn't have any yardsticks either. When I made the yardstick disappear, Bob knew that things weren't the way he thought they would be without numbers. He was disappointed. I agreed that numbers helped us a great deal, but I suggested that we try to get along without them for the rest of the day the way we had planned to do. Bob wondered what time it was, but when he looked at the clock to find out, I just had to make the numbers disappear. He thought that a game of shuffleboard would be fun. He asked me if I'd like to play. I said, sure, but can we? We'll need numbers, and today, remember, we're not going to have any numbers. And Bob asked me if there was anything we could do without numbers. I told him that there were many things. But before I could suggest something, he said that he wanted to listen to the radio. And I had to make them go away before I could even find the station he wanted. When that happened, Bob almost became angry. I really believe that he was sorry for making his wish about numbers, but he didn't say so. Instead, he decided to telephone his aunt. His mother was visiting her. He knew that his mother would want to know that he was at home, but he soon found out that even telephoning depends on numbers. Things just seemed to go from bad to worse for him. Bob thought that we had better walk over.
And then it just ends. It just ends. Oh. So why am I looking for this film? I want to see what happens. I want to see if Johnny Numbers brings the numbers back. It's such a odd film. And I like this type of film. This is kind of a trope where a kid or someone doesn't understand the importance of whatever. In this case, it's numbers. And of course, I've shown another film a couple of weeks ago called Parents Who Needs Them, which had another creepy magical puppet that made a kid realize how important his parents were. And then I'm reminded of Spring Fever, which is something the Mystery Science Theater showed, which had Coyley, I believe, who made this guy realize how important metal springs were to his life. So I love that genre of, well, if you take that for granted, let's show you what could potentially happen in your life and how important X is in your life. And I just want to see. I want to. So this film, obviously, the beginning was clipped and the end was clipped, and I just want to see it in its entirety. I want to see who did this film. I want to see, how it ends up. So that's one of the films on my holy grail list that I'm still actively looking for. There's others. There's venereal disease films. Return of Count Spirochete is an animated Navy film about syphilis. So there's others. There's obviously other VD films that I've been trying to collect over the years, including the first one that was made in 1918 called Fit to Fight, which I doubt that I will ever be able to find that. All right. So while we're all stuck at home, I think it's important to know about the dangers that we face at home. And this film talks about all the poisons. So danger, poison.
Oh, what Steve's father is spraying on these plants? What is Steve's mother doing? What is this? What is this for? And why is it in the closet? Moth cakes, ant powder, and this spray are all poisons. Poisons to kill insects that could spoil our food or bite us. Poisons to protect flowers, to kill moths that could eat our clothes, and to destroy termites that could chew away the wood in our homes. They protect us from insects that carry disease. Poisons help our community stay healthy, but they are dangerous if not used correctly. It is easy to tell that this sign means poison. These words also warn us to be careful. There are many things around the house that do not have a poison sign on them. Yet they can make you very sick if you were to smell or taste them. The kitchen cabinet holds many dangerous things. Mother uses them to keep our home clean. But unless we handle them in the right way, they can harm us. Always have Mother show you how to use them safely. When finished, remember to put them away, out of the reach of your younger brother or sister. Always wash fruit before you eat it, for there might be some poisonous insecticide left on it. We can also find dangerous things in other parts of our home. Do not sniff or drink lighter fuel or ink. Do not chew on matches. They can make you very ill. Even your own room can be dangerous. Breathing the vapor from paint or glue can damage your brain. Use them outside, or make sure the windows are wide open so you have plenty of fresh air to breathe. Little girls like to look pretty, but some of Mother's good-smelling cosmetics might be poisonous. Even simple things like perfume or nail polish can make you ill. Medicines are used to help you get well. But too much of a medicine, even though it might taste good, can make you sick or even kill you. You should never, never take medicine on your own. You can find poisonous things around the washing machine. Mother uses them to clean our clothes. To stay healthy, never sniff or taste them. Steve likes to work in the garage. It can be a place for fun. But the garage also has poisons around. These protect our garden from snails and bugs. They kill weeds and pests. If you ever handle them, pay attention to the warning signs. There might be fertilizer and plant food in the garage. They help our gardens grow. After Dad uses fertilizer or any other garden chemicals, he always washes his hands before he touches his face or eats. Your garage may have other poisonous things. Some may have a pleasant smell, but remember, do not sniff or taste them. They can make you very ill, can even kill you. If you use them, be sure they are put away out of the reach of little children. Charcoal lighter is for starting a barbecue fire, not for you to smell or taste. Nature grows poisons of her own, and sometimes right in your own garden. Just a touch of some plants will give you a bad skin rash. If you were to eat some of them, they will make you very ill. Stay away from an oleander bush. Every part of this plant is highly poisonous. So is the castor plant. And its beans. Steve uses chemicals to keep his fish healthy. But what's good for fish is no good for you. Never leave poisonous chemicals out, because little sister might put them in her mouth. Steve has a special box in which he keeps the poisonous things he uses. It's fun to make paper cutouts. But never leave poisonous glue lying around. Be especially careful if you have younger children in your house. Always put it away, out of the reach of others. It's a good idea to have a special box, as Steve has, in which you can lock up your poisonous paints and glues. Spray paints can also be dangerous. Be sure to keep the paint can pointed away from you, so you will not breathe in the poisonous fumes. Steve knows what to do with poisonous things when there are little children around. Now, what have you learned about poisons? What does this mean? Can you name other things in your home that are poisonous? Should you ever, on your own, take medicine from the medicine cabinet? Why should you wash your hands with soap and water after touching poison? Will smelling some kind of glue make you sick and damage your brain? How many poisonous plants can you name? Why should some things be put out of the reach of younger children? Do all poisons have this on them? Remember, if we learn to be careful, we will stay healthy and strong. Many children are poisoned each year. You would not want to be one of them, would you?
So many chemicals just lying around, ready for young kids to imbibe. I have a couple of films about poisons and some public service announcements as well. And one of them is, I think, 250,000 ways to harm your child. Or let me check the title of that. Maybe I have that somewhere. It's really outrageous. It's the same type of thing as, what is it? I'm looking it up here. It is, yes, it is 25,000 ways to destroy your child's life. There you go. What a wonderfully provocative title. And it's the same thing. It's basically, yeah, everything around you is poisonous and your kids will eat things. So I showed a film strip a couple of days ago, which was The Incredible Edible Egg. I had some delicious recipes. I have a film about the incredible edible egg, but it's for the food service industry. And so let's see how the food service industry uses eggs. I should say that the color on this was very red, and when we color corrected it, at the time, we didn't have the tools that we have now, and so the yolks are a little greenish. So it's kind of Dr. Seuss-esque. Here it is. Incredible edible greenish egg in the food service industry.
The incredible edible egg.
For thousands of years, the world's been fascinated by it. The egg has been used for magic, for rituals, and even for fortune-telling. It's been painted, dyed, and decorated. It's been a prized gift of kings and commoners alike. Today, it's really hard to find a more popular item on most any menu than the incredible edible egg. There are really quite a few reasons why. First, eggs are extremely nutritious. They're highest quality protein and rich in a number of important vitamins and minerals. Eggs are also easy to prepare, and they're available year-round. And last but not least, eggs are extremely versatile. They can be prepared hundreds of different ways, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as for snacks. Eggs can be served in more ways than any other food. When prepared properly, there's no better looking, better tasting menu item than the incredible edible egg. In the next few minutes, and with the help of Bill here, our cook, I'm going to pass along some pointers on eggs, how to handle and store them properly, and the preparation and serving of egg dishes. Let's start by looking at the forms of eggs you're probably working with now. There are shell eggs, and there are further processed egg products. Egg products are eggs that have been broken out of their shells and processed. They come liquid, dried, or frozen. There are also specialty egg products, including long eggs, frozen quiche, omelets, egg patties, pre-peeled hard-cooked eggs, and others. In the majority of kitchens, the form of eggs used is determined by the menus and the setup of equipment in the kitchen itself. You're probably most familiar with shell eggs. Shell color, either white or brown, is determined by the breed of the hen and doesn't affect the quality or cooking properties of the egg. Now, shell eggs should be refrigerated immediately after delivery, and they should come to you in refrigerated trucks. Never let them stand at room temperature. Here's why. Eggs kept at room temperature, or above 68 degrees Fahrenheit, will lose more quality in one day than in 1 week under refrigeration. Another important thing to remember is they should be kept in their case and away from foods with strong odors like onions, apples, and cabbage. Liquid egg products usually come in cartons like this, and like shell eggs, should be kept refrigerated at all times. Frozen egg products should be transferred to a refrigerator or freezer immediately upon delivery, and they should be frozen when you receive them. When defrosting frozen egg products, never allow them to thaw at room temperature. Always thaw them in the refrigerator or under cold running water. The reason for this is that thawing at temperatures higher than 45 degrees Fahrenheit can cause curdling and off flavors. Once you've defrosted frozen egg products, always try to use them quickly. Be sure to refrigerate after defrosting. Care should be taken with dried egg products too. Once you've opened the container, seal it tightly for restorage in a cool place away from light, preferably in a refrigerator. A few words of caution. Eggs, like other foods, are susceptible to bacterial growth, so use the same care with them as you would with other food products. For example, when preparing egg dishes, use a clean, sanitized utensil to break the yolks or lift a piece of shell from a mass of raw egg. Never use your fingers. And always wash your hands thoroughly before and after handling raw shell eggs and egg products. Now we're ready to take a look at the preparation of some of the most popular egg dishes, starting with scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs can be made with fresh grade A shell eggs, with liquid or frozen whole eggs, or special blends for scrambling. Now, of course, the way you scramble your eggs will be determined by the equipment in your kitchen. A griddle's all right for small quantities, but if you're preparing larger amounts like Bill, an oven or steamer is better. Don't stir too much, only after 10 minutes of cooking, and then again at the end, just enough to form large, soft masses of egg. Notice the loose, moist, tender rolls of yellow, free from any trace of white or signs of browning. The best way to prepare scrambled eggs is to cook in small batches according to the rate you're serving them. You can hold scrambled eggs successfully in a steam table by undercooking them slightly and holding them at a low setting, between 140 and 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Garnish with fresh parsley, a tomato wedge, or even a slice of fresh fruit. You'll be surprised how just a small bit of color will add a finishing touch. Let's proceed to another popular dish, soft-cooked eggs. Like their hard-cooked counterparts, they're cooked right in the shell. The difference between them is only a matter of timing. Soft-cooked eggs can be prepared in a steam-jacketed kettle or in a steamer. The egg white should be set, but jelly-like and opaque, and the yolk should be set on the outside, but not firm. It's important to remember that even though the eggs are removed from the heat, they can continue to cook in their shells. So, if you're going to hold soft-cooked eggs before serving them, it's best to slightly undercook them. You can hold soft-cooked eggs in a steam table pan with a small amount of water right in the pan, or in a steam table pan with a small amount of water in the bottom pan. Always serve soft-cooked eggs in an egg cup, a ramekin, or an attractive small bowl. That way they'll always look their most appetizing. Hard-cooked eggs are another popular item in the food service kitchen. Preparing them is simple. You can use a steam-jacketed kettle or a steamer. When finished, cool the eggs quickly to help prevent a green ring from forming around the yolk. This will also make peeling the eggs easier. Hard-cooked eggs should look like this. Whites firm but tender, with the yolks firm but not rubbery. And there should be no discoloration where the yolks and white meet. Commercially prepared, pre-peeled hard-cooked eggs are an alternative to cooking and peeling your own. Hard-cooked eggs can be served either as breakfast or snack items, as ingredients, or garnishes. Here's another important food service item, poached eggs. Unlike the other egg items we've seen, they can be prepared in advance and reheated when necessary. When poaching eggs, it's important that you use fresh grade A eggs directly from the refrigerator. Eggs which are not fresh or which are at room temperature will spread too much when placed in the hot water. Also, the yolks may break. The pan you use should be shallow but with a large surface area. Both a compartment or a high-speed steamer can be used to prepare poached eggs. You'll know that the eggs are poached properly when the white is set but appears jelly-like and opaque. The yolk should be slightly set and lightly covered with egg white. When the eggs are ready to be removed from the pan, you'll find that a slotted spoon works best. A tilting skillet is also ideal for preparing poached eggs, and it can be used to reheat them too. Now, to prepare poached eggs up to 24 hours in advance, slightly undercook them, cover with cold water, and refrigerate. To reheat, place the poached eggs in simmering water until they're hot. Poached eggs are most appetizing when served in a soup cup or on top of a crisp piece of toast or a toasted English muffin. And of course, few dishes can top Eggs Benedict for elegance at any meal. Another item that's sure to add variety to your menu are baked eggs. And they're easy to prepare and require little handling or watching. A deck oven is really the best piece of equipment with which to prepare baked eggs. A convection oven will dry them out. Remember to always bake the eggs with another food, on a bed of hash, spinach, Spanish rice, hash browns, or in toast cups. These foods act as insulators and prevent the whites from toughening. Remember, too, to heat the other ingredients before adding the eggs. Baked eggs are at their best when the whites are firm, but not crisp or rubbery. The yolk should be set, but not firm. Baked eggs are an easy way to take just the ingredients you have in your kitchen and add a unique touch to your menu. Omelets are another really great way to use eggs. It'd be hard to think of another egg dish that's as versatile. Omelets are right at home on the breakfast menu, and they're also ideal for lunch and dinner entrees. You may already have your favorite way to prepare omelets, but we found that a proper-sized omelet pan used directly on the griddle works extremely well. And of course, there are many methods for moving the egg around in the pan to make an omelet. The omelet is ready when it's firm, but the top is still moist and creamy. It's then that you add your filling, if any. Next, you roll the omelet over, as Bill is doing, or you just simply fold it. And it's ready to serve. Some cooks prefer to prepare large omelets in a baking pan in an oven. When the mixture is set, fill the omelet with cheese, mushrooms, Spanish sauce, ham, or even leftovers. Roll or fold, and then slice into portions and serve. You can also prepare large puffy omelets by baking them in steam table pans and serving individual portions with a sauce topping. But no matter what your favorite way to prepare omelets is, don't forget to garnish the plate before serving. When it comes to a menu item that's practically foolproof, few dishes can compete with quiche. This savory custard pie baked in a pastry shell has often been called the perfect light meal. One of the real beauties of quiche is that for fillings, anything goes. Cauliflower, mushrooms, cheeses, tuna, even nuts. Quiche is a perfect way to use leftover vegetables and meats, too. The rule of thumb seems to be, if it tastes good, it is good. Quiche can be baked in a convection or deck oven. The quiche is done when a knife inserted off-center comes out clean. A popular way to serve quiche is with a small green salad and a bit of fruit. Try it as a change of pace for either your luncheon or dinner menu. When you think about it, it's incredible the number of things you can do with eggs. In the past few minutes, we've shown you just a few of them. But there are literally dozens more just waiting for you to try. Each of them a great-looking, great-tasting dish that's a snap to prepare. We hope the tips in this film will make your job easier and will help you in preparing a bigger variety of appealing egg dishes. So, for an incredible way to brighten up your menu, remember,
The incredible edible egg.
So as I said, the green tint to the eggs was unintentional and was not trying to recreate green eggs and ham. It's because of the color correction that we did at the time, which basically skews the colors so that we make the skin tone look okay, but it would make yellows and oranges greenish. So I'd have to fix school buses. And nowadays we have software and technology that allows us to kind of balance that so that's not so gross. But food photography is hard. I've read articles about it and talked to people who actually were photographers, and there was a lot of, to make food look appetizing and read okay, it takes a lot of work because things that look okay to our eyes, film, depending on what type of film and filters and lighting you use, you can make things look really, really gross. So it's like every once in a while I would, on the road, I would stop at a little Chinese restaurant and I would see faded images that were all greenish and gross, like images of what their food looked like. The photos that once looked really good, but then have faded into nastiness. All right, so this next film is for dads, and it kind of talks about the generation gap and also the difficulty in dads understanding their sons and vice versa. This is I Just Don't Dig Him.
Do you know it's 2 o'clock?
Yeah, I know. I got all messed up.
Does Ronnie have a license? What, is his father used to having him get home at 2 o'clock? Did you have any grass? Take any pills? And who were the girls at the party?
Answer him. Man, you must have rocks in your head. He doesn't want to hear answers. He just wants to scream at me. How do I know why? Like, maybe it's his liver. My mother always says he's drinking too much. By the time I got in, like 2 o'clock, he'd had plenty. Been watching the Late Show, too. Maybe that's it. Maybe one of those old Paul Newman flicks about the new generation of wild boys. You know, the cat who lives it up and falls into the hands of the mafia in the last reel. He really believes what he sees on the idiot box. He doesn't have idea number 1 about me. Like, what I'm really like.
What bothers me most is the way he just stands there and looks at me when I'm talking to him. You know, as though I'm a record he's heard 100 times. No expression, no reaction, except maybe once in a while a pained look, like the needle is going over the scratch. You never know what he hears.
He hears everything.
Or what's penetrating that thick skull of his.
He's not stupid.
Oh, that story he made up last night was a masterpiece. It sounded like it came straight out of a comic book. He claims he started to come home at 11:30, but his friend Ronnie wanted to stay a few minutes longer. Well, at 12:30, when he finally decided to come home alone, he'd missed the bus. And of course, he had no money for a taxi. After all, he only gets $10 a week allowance. Do you know for $10 when I was his age? That's what I earned for 20 hours hard work at Bolte's Market.
Yes, Kenneth, I know.
So he couldn't take a taxi. Well, why didn't he telephone?
What could happen? I'm grounded, of course, until further notice. Who cares? So I miss a lousy flick. Big deal. Want to go swimming this afternoon? No, only at night. In the daytime, I'm a free man. How about tomorrow, then? Okay. Meet at the Johnsons at 10. It's better for me tomorrow, too. I better stick around today so he can hate me.
Then, of course, Ronnie had to drop his girlfriend off, and that seems to have taken an hour. Of course, Ken doesn't know exactly, because he says he waited in the car and fell asleep. You know, if I ever heard a cock and bull story...
Maybe it's the truth.
Yeah, maybe I'm the President of the United States. And after all, there's only one phone in the whole town. And he couldn't borrow the taxi money from one of 10 friends, because he couldn't have used his bike in the first place.
He says only little kids use bikes at night.
So, of course, he had to go home with Ronnie, because Ronnie's 16 and he can drive. Of course, Ronnie can't get out of the 10th grade by the time he's 16. You know, why, of all the kids in the school, he has to pick the dirtiest, with the longest hair, and the most disreputable clothes? I'll never know. And can you imagine the girls who were at that party, whose parents let them stroll in at 2 o'clock?
Who else is he going to yell at? Pick up the books, turn down the record player, mow the lawn, get a haircut. Don't talk to me in that tone.
Children don't have a sense of time.
Yeah. Well, that's why I gave him a watch for Christmas. It's in his dresser, he says. Broken, of course, like everything else I spend money on. You know, when I gave it to him, he promised he would be in by midnight. You know, there would be no more excuses. I just can't trust him.
I just can't trust him. He makes promises and doesn't keep them. He was going to build a family room for me to entertain my friends in. We were going to spend the summer making a trip out to the West. Although I must admit, I'm glad he blew that one. Imagine being with him 24 hours a day. It's like he's always mad at me.
He's always mad at me, you know, like I owe him something and I'm not delivering. And if he'd only smile at me or say something civil, the only line he seems to know is, Dad, can I have a little money? He gives me nothing but trouble.
He gives me nothing but trouble. I just don't dig him.
I just don't understand him.
How about trying some dives?
Nah, I don't feel like it.
What's the matter with you today?
Nothing's the matter.
Oh, you don't kid me, man. Something's bugging you.
I'm all right.
I'm the one who should be complaining. After what I took yesterday, you'd think it killed him to stay up till 2 o'clock waiting for me.
So? Maybe he was tired.
Well, then what's all this junk about worrying about me? It's himself he's worried about. That's why I have to be in by 12.
Well, if he had a rough day or something.
Yeah, rough. pushing papers around all day. So let them go to sleep.
They read this stuff in the papers about kids having accidents. They think all kids are the same. Besides, it didn't cost you anything.
What do you mean?
My allowance was cut to nothing for the rest of the summer.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. My father turned the sprinkler on in the rose bed, and his new camera got ruined. He found it yesterday.
What was the camera doing in the rose bed?
I was trying to shoot some bees with a long lens. When my mother called me for lunch, I put it down on a rock. You see, I was gonna get some more shots when the light changed. I forgot all about it.
So what happened?
It's all my fault, of course, even if he turned the water on.
What did he say?
Oh, stop. You know the lines. No respect for property, no responsibility. The camera will have to go back to the shop. It might cost $100 and I'll have to pay for it. I'm neglectful. I'm a jerk. I'm a mess. I'm hopeless. So I'm dead.
But your father, I'm surprised. He doesn't seem like that in the store. He's been kind of nice to me. Last week I broke an earthenware planter, $7.95, and he just said, never mind, forget it.
He would have said something very different if it was me. The noise would have scared the mice out of the store.
Funny, I was thinking just Saturday about what a nice guy he is. You can talk to him even. Not like my father. He was telling me all about heating units and heat convection currents.
Yeah, he's great on heat. Especially under his collar.
No, you gotta believe it. He really seems like a nice guy to me. Maybe fathers are different to their own kids.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't treat them the same. Maybe even my father.
You know I'm forgetting something. Light bulbs, batteries. I'll remember on the way home. Well, that'll be $9.81 with tax. Thank you. Hey, I meant to ask you, how's Ken doing? Is he giving you much trouble?
Trouble? Not at all. That's a fine boy you've got. He's got a great head for figures, too.
My kid? What do you mean?
Well, you know, I started him in the stockroom at first, assorting merchandise. Then I discovered that he could check invoices. Well, in no time at all, he began to learn the cost control system.
Well,
that's right. I've got him in the office working now. He's doing a great job.
you know, no wonder I haven't seen him around here. I've been in here on Saturdays.
I thought he would have told you. I even gave him a little raise. Help him buy that guitar he wants.
Guitar?
Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it. But that's what Ken is really working for this summer. He mentioned he had a fight with you about money. Didn't want to ask you to pay for it.
Well, that is, we didn't exactly have an argument about money, but you know kids these days. One day they're dying for something, the next day they've forgotten all about it.
Sure. But Ken seems different. He's serious and reliable. He gets in here on time, and he isn't too hurried to leave at night. You know, he's the first kid I've had in years that I could really trust. I had my own boy working here last year. It was more trouble than it was worth.
Absolutely amazing. Carson down at the hardware store was telling me about Ken. Says he's got a good head for figures. Says he's the best kid he ever had working for him. I could hardly believe my ears.
Ma, call a doctor. Get an ambulance.
What's the matter? Are you hurt?
No, it's Ronnie. I think he's cut his finger off.
Well, where is he?
Hurry, Ma. He's bleeding terrible.
Now, you better call Dr. Raines. Oh, boy. All right, now, Ronnie, hold your hand up. Good. Good. Keep your head down. Don't look at the cut. All right, now, you feel how I'm holding your arm?
Yeah.
Can you hold it that way? Good. Ken, get a blanket. That's going to be all right. I've seen worse. Okay, Ken, put the blanket around him. Feel like I'm back in the medical corps. All right, now turn around, Ronnie. All right, now keep the hand up. Keep the hand up. All right, how do you feel?
Okay.
You think you can go in the house?
I think so.
All right, let's take it easy. Mom, open the door.
Yeah, what a sweet film. Both the kid and his dad are jerks, and they both figure out that they're not as bad as they thought. I showed that during the Daddy's Day show that I did in Houston, Texas, where I flew my father in, and we showed films about dads. Okay, so one last film, and this is part of a series called Inside Out, which was a 70s TV show that was on public television, and they also distributed the films in schools. And I love these films because they don't necessarily have endings. They're left open so that kids can discuss it with their teachers. And this one is featuring a kid who really is a jerk and gets a wonderful comeuppance at the end, a wonderful revenge. But before we watch this, I just wanted to say thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. And I've lined up guests for Friday. I'm going to have Lars Nielsen, who is a film programmer, curator, amazing guy from Austin, Texas, who he and I have been working together for decades. And he picked some films that he liked from my collection that are real golden ones that we haven't shown. Also, next week, I have someone lined up from UCLA's film department archive, and his picks also glorious, wonderful things. So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited that on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mystery Science Theater is going to have an online kind of riff-along, and they have been working with me for some of the shorts that they're going to be showing. And so this is kind of a circular thing. I used to watch Mystery Science back in the day, back on the Comedy Channel, before it was Comedy Central, and have since have worked with the Mystery Science Theater people and the Riff Tracks people with some of my content. And so I had some conversations with Joel over the last couple of weeks and his team. And so they're going to use some of my shorts for Mystery Science Theater. So I'm excited about that. Anyhow, if you like what you saw, please share this daily thing with folks, friends, and family. You can also go to avgeeks.com and see previously archived episodes. And also you can buy DVDs there. And you can also make donations at patreon.com. Really, it's all about putting eyeballs on these films, and I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to present these films to you. All right, so this next film, as I said, educational film from the 70s about a jerk who gets his comeuppance, and we love films like this. So here's Just Joking.
Is that what you're taking to school for Hobby Day?
Yes, what's wrong with it?
What's right with it?
I made the clothes all by myself, and Mom didn't even have to help me at all.
It looks like it.
I think it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah? Well, look what I made.
That's beautiful. Can I hold it?
I know it's beautiful. The best one I ever made. It took me a lot of time.
I wish I could make something like that.
You're only a girl.
What's that got to do with it?
Girls never do anything right.
I think you're mean. You're taking Matt to school for Hobby Day?
Breakfast.
Thank you.
Just joking, only joking. Joking is a lot of fun. Just joking, only joking. Except if you should hurt someone, do you think it's really smart to play a joke or two? Tell me how you really feel when the joke is played on you. Just joking, only joking. Joking is a lot of fun. Just joking, only joking.
What's all laughing
Look what she did!
What did Sandy do?
Loosen the top on the salt shaker so all the salt would fall on my plates?
Sandy, did you do that? Well, did you?
Yes, but he had it coming to him. He laughed at the clothes I made for my Barbie doll.
Well, is that any reason for you to do what you did?
It was only a joke.
Only a joke. You've ruined his breakfast, and I don't have time to make any more. It's getting late. Do you think that's funny?
No, I guess not. But it seemed pretty funny at the time.
Well, all of us play jokes once in a while. Jokes are all right sometimes. David, you'll have to be happy with cold cereal.
I don't want anything.
David, you come back here. You have to eat something. David, come back here.
Take your stupid box.
got it today. Okay, come on. Hey, oh, Miss Shelley, what's the matter with you kids? For Pete's sakes, will you come? You okay? All right. Now, what do you want?
I want 4 of these. Mr. Bailey, about 2 of these. Can I ask Mr. Bailey? Mr. Bailey, 10 of these. Oh, Mr. Bailey. A whole handful of these. Come on, please. About 4 of these. Mr. Bailey. About, please. Oh, Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey. Can I ask Mr. Bailey? Down there, 18 of these. Oh, Mr. Bailey.
Okay, I'll see you by the cash register. Okay, yeah. The rock candy, the chocolate balls, the fish, the licorice, $2.45. You mean you don't have any money?
And this 1958 is worth 13 cents. And this 1943 D is worth 21 cents. And the one that's worth the most is the 1951 plane. It is worth 35 cents. And there's only 1,312 in existence. And the one that's almost as close is the Canadian 1948. It is worth 25 cents.
That's beautiful.
And now, David, would you like to show yours to the class, please?
Baseball cards I bet. Richard, show us.
Jokes are funny sometimes, but did you ever stop to think how jokes could turn out? What if they turned out in an entirely different way than you expected?
Just joking, only joking. Joking is a lot of fun. Just joking, only joking. Except if you should hurt someone, do you think it's really smart to play a joke or two? Tell me how you really feel when the joke is played on you.
Inside Out is a series of programs and related materials developed and supported by 32 educational agencies in the United States and Canada, with additional support from Exxon Corporation. This program was produced by WVIZ-TV, Cleveland, Ohio, under the supervision.
Every time I watch that film, it gets better and better. I mean, I know the payoff, but it's so good to see how the mighty falls. And I've been noticing the little nuances. Somebody thought that the kid actually took the candy from the candy store after he said he didn't have any money, but he doesn't. And it's a subtle thing. But just to see the reactions on the kids and just to see the build-up to this fall is just so great. It's, you know, this is very much like the other revenge film that I've shown called The Huntsman, where a boy exacts revenge on some teenagers who try to muscle in on his golf ball salvaging operation. You know, it's so sweet to see him fall. So I figured I'd leave you with that. So thanks everybody again for tuning in, and I hope to see you again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Tell your friends. We've started broadcasting on Twitter and Periscope, and we are slowly increasing our reach and getting the films that we have in our collection out to the world, whether they want to see them or not. So everybody have a good rest of the day, and we will see you soon. Take care.